Attention S&P artists, are you looking to take your business to the next level? It's time to fully systemize your studio for growth with the ultimate sales and marketing platform for S&P artists, HighLead. With HighLead, you get everything that you need to save time and effortlessly generate more consultations and bookings on autopilot. And guess what? HighLead is not just a system, but also one of the largest Google ad agencies in the world for S&P professionals. Imagine having a marketing strategy that's tailor-made for the S&P industry, driving high-quality leads right to your studio. Say goodbye to the struggle of finding the latest marketing trend. HighLead has you covered. Invested into your training? Check. Invested into your equipment and studio setup? Check. Now it's time to invest into your marketing strategy. Don't risk your marketing budget on anything else until you've experienced HighLead's growth system and Google Ads services. Don't pass on this special opportunity for listeners of the Scalp Solutions podcast. Visit gohighlead.com today to book a free demo now and join the hundreds of S&P artists who've embraced HighLead to thrive in their businesses. On the free no-obligation demo call, a member of HighLead's team will answer all of your questions and help you unlock the potential of your S&P studio by getting you more bookings. Visit gohighlead.com today.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Scalp Solutions podcast. I am your host, David Santiago, and today we have another amazing S&P artist who's coming on. He's going to be talking about his come up, hopefully give us some tips and tricks and just the day-to-day functions as an S&P artist. So without further ado, let's welcome on our guest, Mr. Luis Molina.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, David, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Luis, thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule to jump out of the podcast. I'm super excited for this. But before we even get started, my brother, let everybody know where you are calling from.
I'm from South Spain. I'm from Andalusia.
Outstanding. Yeah. Are you born and raised in Spain, Luis? Are you originally from Spain?
I'm born and raised in Spain. I moved to the UK a few years ago. I've been living in the UK a few years.
Got it.
But I'm Spanish.
And now you back home.
Yeah, back home. Starting fresh here.
Nice. So Luis, let's kick it off, man. How did you first become interested in scalp micropigmentation and decide to pursue this as a career?
It's funny because I had a friend who got the treatment done. I'm talking about 2015, late 15, something like that. I didn't know he had the treatment done. I just seen a change in this guy, like not physically, only physically, more like, you know, he was a moody guy and he changed completely. When I realized he had the treatment done, I asked him and he explained it to me. It was a huge change for him, for his life, for his confidence. And by the time I had a girlfriend, she was working on permanent makeup. So he showed me the treatment, and my girlfriend, she pushed me or hooked me for, you know, starting to research about the micropigmentation thing.
So I'm assuming, right, you obviously, I mean, as we can see, me and you, right? So for everyone who's listening, if you can't see, you got to tune into the YouTube channel so you can see this handsome gentleman here. But you obviously have S&P done yourself.
Yeah. I got my treatment done in 2017.
2017. So now you got introduced to it because a friend of yours got it done, and you said you noticed a change in his attitude. He essentially was a more confident, more happy man. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, it was something like you know, like a vision. When I see him, it was like a vision. I had like a clear vision that I wanted to be part of this thing, the S&P thing.
Got you. So you went ahead and got it done yourself first and then decided, okay, I want to pursue this as a career?
No, it was the other way.
The
I
opposite.
met my friend. Yeah, I met my friend, and I started to research. I went to Poland to get my first training in 2016. And after a year working here in Spain, like trying to build a portfolio and trying to get clients, I realized if I wanted to be like a reference and grow and be better, I had to find another way. So I applied for a bunch of companies, and one of the companies was in London, in the UK. So I decided to move to London to learn English and be able to work for this company. So I spent a year, and after I spent 5 years working for the company. And 2020, I find myself like touching the ceiling in the company. Nothing more to do. I started teaching the college in the company. You know, being even in New York for a summer. They sent me for working with the Latino people in the clinic in Manhattan, in New York. So I spent about 5 years with them. And yeah, 2020,
You went on your
you
own.
know, yeah, you know, the pandemic thing. And, you know, I started to think about what I wanted to do. And yeah, why not starting my own business when I had more than 1,000 clients done? So I had like I feel grateful for having the option to work with this company 5 years, because they allow me to be a proper good artist, not only someone who's interested and started and do a few clients.
Yeah, 4 or 5 clients, go out there, start a school,
Yeah,
all that good stuff.
yeah.
Everything you kind of like see now. So I'm just gonna backtrack just a little bit, Louis, if you don't mind. So you started doing SMP and then you got SMP done.
Yes, when I started to work for the company, I college in the company. You know, actually, when you evolve and you're working on SMP, you can be your own billboard. You need to
Absolutely.
be
Yeah.
the. So I got my treatment done. After, it's funny because I seen this, you know, this face in these guys when they see for first time with the treatment. And I remember my face when I got my first session after almost a year and a half working as practitioner or SMP artist. When I got my first session, I remember going in the tube, you know, in the subway, looking at my face in the mirror, and you know, I start to feel this, you know, this energy that the people feel in the first session after a year and a half.
After. So okay. And I was gonna ask, like, how was that feeling for you? Because you said when your friend got SMP, you noticed how he changed. Like, did it have the same effect on you?
This kind of, because I never felt unconfident, you know, with baldness. I lost my hair when I was 20,
Okay.
and I got my SMP when I was 36. Now I'm 43, 36, 37 around. So I've been dealing with the baldness a lot of years. I never felt like I'm confident, but obviously when I see my face for the first time, I was like, "Hey, bro,
It's
you're
about
looking
that
good, bro.
time.
Yeah, you need to do something with your life."
So now you said you were at the time you were dating a woman who was in PMU. So what was it that
Yeah,
made you want to go with SMP opposed to any other form of permanent makeup or tattooing?
because I seen the change in my friend. The first time when the first thing I asked to my friend was, "How much you pay for this?" And he told me,
You
and
was
I was
already
like,
looking for a discount?
"Yeah," no, I was like, "Damn, that's money." And his face, how he changed. This is what I made me wanted to go ahead with the SMP. I had to ask for money to my relatives and friends for starting my career. So I was a bit lost in my life as professional. I always been working in construction. So I come from a different background. I'm not like a tattoo artist or like a barber, uh, switching or stepping or upgrading. I came from construction, so
Yeah, that's two totally
yeah,
different realms.
yeah, I had the vision. I seen clearly. I was clear. Uh, that was my career, my future.
Got you. Outstanding. So, what are some unique skills or qualities that you think are important for a successful S&P artist to possess?
I think you need to be perfectionist, be impatient, and sometimes it's hard when you have a lot of treatment done. It's hard to stay focused and not get bored. But if you really love what you're doing, it's easy to want it to upgrade. I've been practicing and trying new techniques and trying different needles, different pigments, and I always wanted to give this extra for the people. And it's good for me because I think I have something like a talk. I don't know how to say in English, a talk.
You have
El trastorno obsesivo compulsivo, where you crazy perfectionist and you
got you.
need to have everything.
I understand.
So I guess this helped me to step up and having better results.
So you mentioned about like you tried other needles and stuff like that. How is it that you stay, because you've been doing this for quite some time and you have a lot of experience under your belt, and you come from a previous company that they've allowed you to, they funneled you, all these a lot of clients, and you've gained a lot of experience off of it. So what are you doing nowadays to stay updated with the latest trends, techniques, and all the other advancements that's happening within the S&P industry?
I guess I spend most of my days, like doing and reading and watching podcasts like yours and, staying in touch with the people. I know a lot of practitioners, they started in the same company than me. They are not big guys. So I follow their path a bit.
You okay, I got you. Understand. And I was going to ask you, that question later on, like, who are the artists? Are there any artists that you look at, whether you look up to them or you just look at them, to see like their trajectory, like how they're moving along in the industry?
What I tried, not even trying, what I want to, as an artist or as a practitioner, um, is to stay always in touch with the brand new things. So I follow the top practitioners. I know them and I follow them. I follow the new techniques, and yeah, it's kind of staying with the eyes open.
Got you. So, can you share a successful or a memorable successful story or a transformation that you've witnessed through your own S&P work?
I've seen a lot of people, a lot of guys, they, after getting the treatment, they stop with the bad habits. For example, guys, they used to drink, they used to, do drugs or eating in unhealthy way. And after getting the treatment, start like training and having a better lifestyle, a healthier lifestyle. So for me, this is the best example that I can give you is people actually changing their lives because of treatment, a permanent makeup treatment.
Yeah,
That's inspiring.
that is awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's like a superpower almost to have, that you can provide someone a service that's so influential that they go and change their whole life 360 um around. So that's a great example, man. I've yet to get something like that. Um All right, cool. So now what advice would you give someone who's considering scalp micropigmentation and maybe they're a little hesitant or unsure about the process?
About the getting the treatment or starting as a
About getting the
artist?
treatment as a client, someone who wants to get the treatment done.
The thing I can recommend is the do research, like proper research. You know, in social media, sometimes you see great, profiles of people offering like an amazing result, and when you see in real, that's different. In real life, there's no Photoshop. So I recommend to the people like do proper research, not going for the cheaper or the offer or the big discounts or this noise. It's better to research and be sure before. And normally, what I do to help the people they are insecure, I invite them to come to the clinic, and I let to the potential client to see how it works, see me working in a client, see the change, the first, second, third session. So I guess when do you have the experience for not needing to hide anything, but you can not teach people but guide people
Got it.
what
Understand.
it
I think
looks good.
that's incredibly helpful. Have them come in so that they can actually see the work being performed themselves firsthand. You said something about Photoshop. So do you can see, I mean anyone with experience knows
Yeah.
what S&P actually looks like. So have you been noticing a lot of S&P photos? You know, we don't have to name artists, but are you noticing that there are some obvious altering of the photos?
Of course. Have you seen this profile? S&P, uh, S&P inspector, S&P police, someone who exposed people.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm happy. Listen, I'm happy with Photoshop if you want to hide the redness, for example.
Got you.
It's good. It's
Agreed.
good because some people they have like a very light skin and it looks a bit, messy with the redness. So I'm happy with, deleting the redness. But some people they use Photoshop as a technique. Most of the result they Photoshop. So where's the point?
Yeah, that's very misleading. You know, I I think everyone uses it, and like you said, for certain things, like I always use it to bring down the redness because I feel like if a potential client sees that, they're just going to immediately associate that redness with discomfort or pain, and we obviously don't want to discourage them just solely off that. So I'll do that, but I do see some where it's the extremes are and, you know, a part of me is kind of like, you know what, I don't care, that's not me, that's on them. But I think about it from a client's perspective. If I saw a work and it looked phenomenal, and now I
Yeah.
show up to your clinic and I say, hey, I want my hairline to look like this, and then you know, I'd be scared to know that I can't in fact perform that photo that I just photoshopped. So I don't know, like, you know, what would you do in an instance like that if you photoshop something so much that you knew you couldn't perform it?
Yeah, I guess it's because the first year when I started, before working for this huge company, I felt the same way. I felt that my result wasn't good enough to show to the people how it looks in real. But I guess the only way to change this is practicing more, practicing and practicing. There's no way for getting better or getting better results if you don't practice.
Yeah,
As
absolutely.
sometimes you need to um, sacrifice earning money for getting experience. As myself, for example, not earning money for 5 years, but getting a huge portfolio, getting a experience, practicing and practicing. The practice makes perfect.
That is
There's no
great
way.
what you just said. So you said you spent 5 years focusing on gaining the experience and perfecting the craft, sacrificing some money, right? Not making no money,
A
but
lot.
you had your eyes on the end game, right? Because you knew if you put in the work that at some point you were going to be able to get that return with the experience that you gained.
That's right. That's right. It's something like it's when you study in university. You need to spend a few years learning something for having a career in the future. For me, this is exactly the same. But instead of the university, you go and work every day, 2 guys, 5 days a week. Mathematics.
Yeah, that's a great perspective. Thank you for that. Everyone that I talk to, we all have something to say about when it's time to either train or how fast you want your career to move along. And a lot of the seasoned professional S&P artists that are really good, a lot of you guys have done just that, have taken your time to perfect your craft and then went out there and made things happen. And I know you're starting to see, I mean, we're all starting to see like everyone's like, all right, I just did my training last month. I'm off and I did 3 clients and now I'm offering training. Do you offer training?
I'm building my training course now.
Got it. So now
But
let me ask you, Louis, and I'm sorry to cut you off. You've got quite some experience under your belt. Do you think there's a actual projected, whether it be time or a certain amount of clients that you should get done before you even start pursuing, teaching S&P?
obviously, if you're working 3 months doing S&P and you started training people, what you can teach to the people if you don't have the experience? The thing is, if you want to, as a artist or practitioner, I always wanted to have a industry in Spain, like a proper industry. And the only way to build up industry is having a good practitioners. If you want to be a good practitioner, you need to learn from a good practitioner or good artist. You can't go for 2 days getting a certification and thinking you the gold. So it's you need to be humble.
I love that that's the expression, even in Spain. I think you're the GOAT.
Sí, sí, la gente se cree que son los mejores.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. So now let's do a little transitioning back into the office. And how do you ensure a safe and hygienic environment to your clients when you're performing S&P? And I'm asking you this question as a seasoned S&P artist, so that, because just so that you know, Louis, the majority of my listeners are new up and coming artists, and a lot of them don't have access to artists like you to ask basic questions like this that they're not learning from these teachers that are, have only done 3 clients and now they want to teach S&P classes, and they're missing out on things as basic as just hygiene, basic hygiene. So what are some common things that you do, common practices to make sure that you have a sterile office?
The thing is, in Spain, the sanity and the hygiene is very strict. Not in other ways, but this hygiene, the government don't let you open a clinic like easily. So you have to have a few different things before you get the authorization for opening like a business like this. So it's unique here for it, at least in Spain. You need to follow the steps for having something like secure for the people.
Got it. Now, do they do random, like, can they just randomly pop up at your office and do kind of like an inspection?
Yes, they can come every day.
They can come every day.
Yeah, it's very strict here. I know because in the UK it's different. In 2018, the company where I was working, they wanted to open a business here in South Spain. We opened a business. We stayed open for a year and a half, and they told me it was completely different and completely another. ¿Cómo se dice? Protocolo.
Got it. Got it.
So it's the sanity in the government here. They can come every day. They can check everything. They can check the pigments, homologated pigments, everything clean, the product for cleaning. So even you need a couple of certifications. The wall. You need a couple of certifications before to open it, like hygiene and security and permanent makeup.
So now, but what do you do as an artist to protect yourself and the client? Like, are you wearing gloves? Are you wearing a mask? Like, what do you do?
Glove and mask always, brand new needles, cartridges and everything. Do we have something for keeping everything like safe and clean?
Got it. So you guys obviously have like a sharps container for your needles. And what do you do with the regular, like the gloves? Do you guys have like a separate in Spain? Are you guys required to keep like a separate disposal for them?
Yeah, you have to keep the needles in like a box, like a box strictly for the needles, and a different box for the garbage. Everything that they have blood,
Got you.
Everything that when you work with blood, everything needs to be like in the proper places.
So let me ask you, Luis, have you ever been on social media or YouTube or anything, and have you ever seen an artist performing S&P not wearing gloves or proper
in a kitchen, working in a kitchen?
Did you?
That's true.
Yeah. I've seen that. As a businessman, I understand that sometimes we have to start in the bottom. I understand that. I understand that some of the biggest corporations in the world started in the most unsanitary places like garages and stuff like that. But I just feel that there's certain things that should be allowed. Like you have to have at some point, you can't start too low in the, like I listen, when I started, I was in a 71 square foot room, but I tried to make it look as professional as I possibly could. Like I wasn't doing anything in the kitchen where I was exposing my entire family to everything. Abuelita is in the background, cooking arroz habichuela. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm all for, the bootstrapping, starting it up. But I do agree that there needs to be a certain limit where you have, the professionalism just kicks in. And I have seen the video that you spoke about of the dude doing SMP in
I,
the kitchen.
I will link. I will link you later. You want to see something funny?
Oh, you're gonna send me something after? All right, excellent. All right, so let's transition over now to you, the SMP artist. What are some important factors that you consider when you're determining the design for a hairline for your client? What are you looking for?
I guess it's, every single hairline is different because what I do is following the natural hairline before the hair loss. So I try to, keeping as natural as possible. Always, like depends on the age, depends on the color, depends on the expectation. You need to work in different ways.
You
So I
got
try to guide always the client. I recommend. I love the sharp hairline. I know,
yeah,
and I love. I've been working, as I told you, I've been working in New York, and I spent the whole summer doing sharp and straight hairline. But I promote something more soft, more. For me, a perfect micropigmentation treatment is a treatment that you don't know the guy have the treatment done. I
yes,
love when my clients call me like, "Hey, Luis, I've been with my family. They don't know nothing about the treatment. They looking at me like, hey, you look different. Did you let your beard long? Did you change your glasses?" So I guess for me the best what I had to do is offering the most natural result.
got it. Now you said you were in New York for a year, and obviously for you, you got to witness, right? Because I feel like I'm always defending the hard hairline because us New Yorkers, especially the New York SMP artists or just the East Coast, like we make
Yeah,
these things tight and hard. Now, this is me asking a gentleman that's not from New York. He's not from America. He's from Spain. You came out here for a year. Louis, can you, in fact, agree that that's what they want, right? That's what everyone thinks is cool. They want a hard hairline.
yeah. It's funny because I spent my whole life like listening to music from New York. I'm rapper too.
Okay,
Um,
awesome.
so I spent my whole life seeing people in video clips with this sharp and straight hairline. So for me, it's kind of familiar or it's kind of
Got you.
normal. Uh, so it's all obviously depends. If I have a guy with 20 years old who wants to get the treatment done and he's looking for something with the impact, I'm happy with this. What I do is trying to here my customer, they in the late 30s, 40, even 50, between 38 and 48 people. So I guess it's more natural if you are a white guy from Spain having something more like soft.
Got you. So now, do you have? So you said you enjoy doing the sharp hairline, but you like making it a little softer, a little more natural.
Yeah,
So now,
yeah.
what about the natural hairline? Is that something that you like to perform too? Like the nice little curvature with some indents, but it kind of like fades out, or do you enjoy that or no?
Yeah, that's my thing.
That's your thing. All right. So now, since that's your thing, can you share any tips on achieving a natural looking hairline? Because a lot of people that are coming into the industry, that's something that they're struggling with because they just don't know how to accomplish that nice transition, that faded, that gradient look. What is it? How do you go about establishing that?
You know what I do? I work with different size of needles.
Okay.
0.25, like everyone. And I work with 0.20 and 0.18 sometimes, depends on the hair. All the areas on the hairline, even the sides. I work with the lighter pigment, smaller dots, some random dots outside the hairline. So that helps to give you this natural hairline.
Gotcha.
Random dots, smaller dots, lighter dots.
It's a combination. So now, Luis, do you just do impressions, like circular impressions, or do you add like slight little, little flicks where it's not like a stroke, but it's just slight imperfection of an impression?
Yeah, I like to balance the hairline, but once I have the hairline balance, it's more artistry.
You just
you
go.
know yeah, sometimes you have to do something more.
Okay, so now talk me through this to the best of your abilities. It's a first session, and the gentleman that's in front of you wants a natural hairline. How are you establishing that base foundation on your first session? Like, what's the thought process?
It's always designing something, as I told you, with good for the morphologia. Do you know morphologia?
Yes.
Something that fit the client face. And I stay a bit higher always in the first session. I design the hairline and I show to the client. And when we agreed in a hairline, I stay a bit higher. We always have time to go lower and go darker. So I always try to. The first session is more. I explain to the clients. I do a first session very soft, like a 30% of the treatment. I don't go too dense, and I don't go too dark.
So when you say
high.
30%, and I'm sorry, 30%, you mean as far as the strength of your pigment, like the dilution, or you mean how much you're packing the impressions?
It's about everything.
Gotcha.
I left more space between dots. The gaps are bigger, and the pigment is lighter in the first session always.
Now, do you adjust the pigment? Do you find yourself for every session, second session, third session, you're going slightly darker to kind of build that gradient look?
Yeah, I try to work always in every session with two tones of pigment, darker in the top and a bit lighter on the sides. And I replicate in the next sessions. I do darker on the top and a bit darker on the side. In the third sessions, sometimes you just need to adjust a bit. Gotcha. And sometimes you need to go darker, even in the third session, in applying, whole.
So do you always use two color pigments for each session?
Yeah, the hairline, the last centimeter in the hairline and the sides. Yeah, it's not too. There's not a huge difference between the top and the side, but maybe I go 6-8 shades lighter on the side.
Got you. So if you were working with like a 20-to-1 dilution on the top, for the sides, you're going to be going with like a 14-to-1 dilution.
Yeah.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I like it.
Yeah, I guess it's something. I mean, the natural hair on the side is tiny.
Yeah, smaller follicles, tinier, smaller follicles.
Yeah, it's tiny. So I guess it's natural to having a smaller dot on the side, even the hairline. So I do the same with the color. If you put the same color on the side and the top, sometimes the side looks darker and you need to work more or apply more pigment on the top. So start working lighter on the side. Second session, adjust a bit the pigment, adjust the tone of the pigment, and stay bit softer on the side, a bit lighter.
So with that strategy, with that technique that you use, do you always, is your last session, is your ultimate goal to always have it darker on the top and always slightly lighter on the sides, regardless of the session? Like, we're talking about a complete procedure.
Yeah, depends on the people, the skin type. Sometimes you need to work more or work less. But I blend when I do the sides, always with lighter.
Got you. Okay.
I have like a scheme of colors, and I will show you someday. I have a scheme of colors. I do my mathematics, my mental mathematics.
Oh, so okay, I got it. Listen, man, everybody's got everybody's got their own little technique behind the technique. Maybe when you put your first master class together, we'll get a guy out there and you'll teach us.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. Have you ever encountered a difficult or a challenging client while you've been doing S&P, and how did you handle it? And if you may, like, let me give you an example. Like, you have that one client that's telling you, I want it darker, I need it darker, but it's not going to look natural, and it could potentially make you as a business look bad because it might be botched work. What's your closest experience to something like that?
What it does, I give to the clients like a paper where it says we're gonna build together the hairline, we're gonna build together the treatment, but I have the last word in the color, and I have the last word in in terms of sharpness, for example.
Got you.
And if I see the guys coming for the free consultation, and I see something like make me feel, a bit. Normally, I don't do the treatment. I don't like to having clouds in my sky.
Got
So
you.
I prefer to getting less money, but not having problems. It's the only way. If you feel from the first moment this guy is gonna give you problems, where's the point?
Right.
Why?
That means
Why?
it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So you said you rather make less money than take on a client that's gonna, be a problem for you.
Yeah, my mental peace is priceless.
So speaking of pricing,
Yeah.
some people feel comfortable speaking about how much they charge for S&P. Some don't. I'm not asking you for your pricing, but how do you approach your pricing or packages for your S&P service? And like, what are you using? Do you use like the Norwood scale, or you just have your own like rule of thumb, like, hey, if I'm going, if it's just the mid crown, I want this much, et cetera, et cetera. What do you utilize?
Normally, I have a price list, depends on the Norwood scale.
Got you.
But it was easy for me to having like a price list, because as I told you, we opened a business before with this huge company, opened a business before here in Spain. So I kept the prices. Same practitioner, different company, same practitioner, same room, same everything. So where's the point of charging less? I tell to the people, some people look at me like, but I tell to the people, I'm not the cheaper. I'm not even, in terms of normal price. I'm expensive. I'm expensive because I have the experience for giving you something extra, giving you this extra result. So I have to charge more. I spent 5 years living in the UK with the rain and the traffic, and
to build the experience that you have now.
Yeah, bro, you have to pay
for it. You're gonna have to pay me for it. So now, I can appreciate that. That means your value, your worth, and you want to be compensated for that. So how do you deal with a client that tries to lowball you? All right, I came in and you just quoted me for Norwood 7, whatever, $4,000. And I tell you, is that the best that you can do, Lewis? What do you say?
Yeah, that's the best I can do it. that's what I say. No discount in here. I consider myself more as artist than a businessman. So I do treatment for free sometimes, and I don't mind. I know people that touch me in a way that I feel like I'm happy doing a treatment for free for you, or doing a session half price, but not when the guy is coming asking for a discount. When a guy coming asking for a discount, no,
Yeah,
that's not possible. That's not possible.
usually,
If you want something cheaper,
usually the guy with the expensive clothes and sneakers on, right, that wants the discount.
Free Kanye.
He got the Yeezys, right? It's a guy coming in with all the different Yeezys that wants the discount.
Yeah, I have a wardrobe.
That's awesome, man. All right, so you don't, you price yourself accordingly because of your experience, and you don't break that for anyone. Now, let's talk about the tools, man. What equipment are you using? What kind of machine are you using, and what are your go-to needles?
I have two wireless machine right now. I tried different brands, but now I have the Chijin Sol Nova Unlimited
Nice.
and the Flux. I love the Flux.
You like the Flux? Is that
Yeah,
you like that over the Cheyenne?
sometimes depends on the skin. I have the two machines with me.
Always.
So when I start, yeah, always. When I start doing depends on the skin, depends how I feel in my hand. Sometimes I tell to the people I live in the matrix of the SMP. So sometimes I feel something working with the machine and I change, I switch to the other. Always wireless. I don't like a wire. We're in 2023. So
Yeah,
there's
wireless.
no point. For me, there's no point having a wire. But yeah, it depends. It depends on how I feel.
I just want to make sure that I heard you correctly. Did you say that sometimes you feel like you're in the matrix for SMP?
No, I think I live in the matrix of SMP.
That's
Sometimes I can't even explain. It's more like kind of how I feel.
okay.
So sometimes work with the Chijin or sometimes work with the Flux.
Got you. So it's wake up, you get to the office, and you like look at the client for the day, and you're like, today I'm using the Cheyenne.
Yeah.
One of those. Okay. I can relate to you, not with needles, but with tequila. Sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna have this tequila.
José Cuervo, José Cuervo, el bueno.
Yeah, you gotta just the good one, not the cheap $17 for the gallon one. That's the one that destroys your whole insides.
Now,
What about the needles, Louis? What are you using?
I'm now working the last about a year with the Quadron needles.
Quadron.
0.25, 0.20, 0.18, 3 RLLT, long tape.
And you've been using those for how long now?
Exclusively about a year. Even in the company where I worked before, they used the Quadrant. So for me, was the Bishop and the Quadrant was similar, and I feel comfortable working with both of them.
Got it. And now, what about pigment? Is there one particular pigment that you use, or is this part of the matrix too that you?
You know, 5 p.m. shadow, follicle.
Got it.
Last 6 months, I started with my friends Pigmenta. Tony.
Oh, my man.
My brother. Shout out, my brother Tony.
Tony's the man.
I asked him a few months ago because we know each other for working in this company. So I asked him when I see him, he was practicing with his home pigment. And I start. I love the result. You know, it's the pigment is something that you can like check properly long term because you need to see how it age.
Yeah.
But it's good for working. I feel good working with pigmenta.
So you like it?
Yeah, pigmenta, 5 p.m. follicle.
All good.
More or less. I move between these three.
It's part of the matrix.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Louis, man, thank you so much for that, brother. Before we wrap it up, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you on social media, or if there's an email, if anybody has a question, or if they want to keep up to date with any trainings that you're going to be offering in the future?
Yeah, I'm in the social media. I have my website. That's unique microcapilar.es. My Instagram is unique low bar microcapilar, and Facebook unique microcapilar.
So it's
I keep the same name.
Unique _ microcapilar for the social media, right? For
Instagram
and for Facebook.
Facebook, yeah.
Awesome. Outstanding. Louis, thank you so much again for taking out some time to come on the podcast, chop it up with us, drop some gems. And I look forward to your master's class training to show us how we're going to, how you got your secret dilutions.
You're going to see me soon, very soon.
Yes, sir. I believe that, brother. Again, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Scalp Solutions podcast. Thank you again to our guest, Mr. Luis Molina. Until the next time, peace.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you very much for having me.
So feel me rain from behind. Black rain, peace student in the game. Black rain, through the struggles and the strain. Black rain, elements of mine. So feel the rain from behind. Black rain, peace student in the game. Black rain, through the struggles and the strain. Black rain, elements of mine. To feel the rain from behind. I'm sorta like a killer devil rebel. The getaway cars are the sounds of the bass and the treble. Cause I get into mine able and ready.